1.5 billion users on Facebook every day.
And among those profiles are people who are not allowed to be on the platform, according to Facebook.
People like 56-year-old Robert Gale Wojda, convicted 5 times of child exploitation offenses in 3 different states: Florida, Ohio, and Virginia.
Part of his probation was that he was not supposed to be on social media of any kind whatsoever.
And yet there he was, using Facebook to engage in sexually explicit conversations with minors.
Thankfully, his probation officer just checked, and she found a Facebook profile for him with his photo and could tell that he was actively liking posts.
Wojda admitted to sending explicit photographs through Facebook. Detective Mary Gary Ford searched his phone and found sexual conversations with a 14-year-old girl in Georgia.
It was a very traumatic experience for her, and she was isolated and alone and kind of containing all this inside herself for a long time.
Wojda is far from the only convicted predator using social media.
The frightening part is the number of people doing what they're doing, and that's just what's reported.
Facebook has a specific policy that bans convicted sex offenders. But in just 3.5 hours, our investigation easily tracked down registered sex offenders in 7 different states with what appeared to be active Facebook profiles. From Florida to West Virginia and Louisiana, we found offenders of all races, genders, and ages. An Ohio man labeled a sexual predator, a 35-year-old woman in Kentucky convicted of raping a 13-year-old, a Virginia man who enticed a minor to perform in pornography, another convicted of raping a 15-year-old in Alabama. We found so many offenders on Facebook in such a short time, we eventually stopped looking and reported our findings to Facebook. The social network immediately launched an investigation and disabled the accounts.
You never know who you're talking to on the other side of the computer.
Brianna Valentino is a forensic interviewer with Stop Child Abuse Now.
They are online all the time, and so what ends up happening is that kids are very accessible to people who mean to do them harm.
Even if your child is not on Facebook, they need to be careful, and you need to know what sites they are active on.
And they also don't realize that if they're on multiple sites, then they're accessible through those multiple sites, and somebody who's knowledgeable about those things can tie all that information together. And so something that you tell a person on Snapchat, well, they may then use that information to come back to you maybe on Twitter or on your YouTube account.
When Valentino meets with children abused by predators, she brings them to a safe room like this and helps them process what they've been through.
What we tend to see from kids who've experienced the trauma online is a lot of internalized behavior, so feelings of guilt, feelings of shame that they are the ones that have done something wrong.
Detective Mary Gary Ford's worked hundreds of these cases. She often has the unenviable job of talking to child predators like Robert Wojda.
He indicated that looking at adult pornography just doesn't do it for him.
Wojda pleaded no contest to electronic solicitation of a minor and is now serving 20 years in a Virginia prison. His capture is a victory for Ford, but she knows there are more predators out there. That's why she needs parents to help and have age-appropriate, non-judgmental conversations with their children now.
This is something that could happen, and if it does, just stop what you're doing, come to me, talk to me, we'll work it out together, you're not in trouble.
Detective Ford says there are steps you can take to be proactive. First, we know our kids are attached to their phones, but experts say they should not have them in their bedrooms at night. And consider this rule: tablets and computers should only be used in open areas of the house. And do your research. Know the apps that are out there. One hides photos, and it looks like a calculator.